Welcome, nerds, once again to the news. This week in gaming news, we have the biggest potentially video game release ever just hit a fairly significant snag. One of the biggest children's fantasy franchises is getting rebooted and could potentially be better than the original. We have Matt Reeves' side of the DCU got just a little bit bigger in the TV section. Capcom's biggest release ever, an RPG release ever, I guess, has been not without its own controversies since launch. We have breaking news in the music section. One of the most influential punk slash rockabilly slash just rock and roll bands of all time just announced a reunion tour. All that plus plenty more in this week's abbreviated episode of the news. So, jumping into the music news this week, we have a tour, I guess, has been announced off of an initial show. Plus, we have a 20-year anniversary also in touring section. It's basically just touring news with a little bit of regular news. And then a Brian Setzer vehicle has just announced a pretty major tour. So, let's jump into the music, shall we? As I said, it is going to be an abbreviated episode. There is no suggestions this time around. We're just talking news, and honestly, it's mostly touring stuff for music this episode. We have no new music to talk about. There were things that were released. It's just getting ready for this trip to go take care of my parents, and other things have gotten in the way this week, so we're truncating things a little bit around here. So let's start off in tours and festivals. We did get Cannibal Corpse has announced a European trek that is going to be supported by Municipal Waste and Immolation, which is kind of just a crazy bill to begin with. It starts September 20th in Oberhausen, Denmark. It runs through October 20th in Frankfurt, Denmark. They're not just staying in Denmark, though. I know they start and end there, but they are going all over Europe. So if you're interested, go check out the link in the description. Should get you to some tickets. From there, we have Korn has announced the continuation of their, well, it's kind of a tour around their big anniversary show for their self-titled record. If you remember on that show, on that bill, we have Gojira, Spiritbox, and I honestly, Scars on Broadway, that was the other one. Scars on Broadway is the rest of it. Well, Gojira and Spiritbox have announced that they are going to be touring with Korn as well. It's unknown exactly if Korn is going to be doing the self-titled record from front to back like they are at that big anniversary show. But the big anniversary show is in the middle of this tour, roughly, so it's possible, but don't hold me to that. The tour itself runs from September 12th in Tampa, Florida, and through October 27th in St. Paul, Minnesota. There are tickets available if you follow the link below. This is kind of a huge thing, just because those are three super heavy hitters in the music business right now, especially on the heavy side of things. Though, stylistically, I don't know how that show's going to work out. So if you end up going, because I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, but if you end up going, definitely let me know how that went, right? From there, we have another anniversary. This is just a show. Yes, this is just a single show. It is Unearth, one of the greatest metalcore bands to exist. Unearth has announced that they're going to be doing a 20-year anniversary show for their record, The Oncoming Storm. It will be June 15th at Big Night Live in Boston, Mass. Yeah, support for the show. This is huge in so many ways. We have Bleeding Through, Overcast, Fuming Mouth, All Out War, and Apes, plus a currently unannounced special guest. So let's just go through this real quick. We have Bleeding Through, to be expected, because also one of the biggest names in metalcore. Overcast is a big name, though you might not have heard of them before. Overcast is kind of Killswitch Engage pre-Killswitch Engage. That is Brian Fair and Mike D, and there was one other member of Killswitch in that band, and I can't remember who it was. But yeah, Brian Fair from Shadows Fall, Mike D from Killswitch Engage, plus maybe Joel Streutzel, I can't remember. Either way, it's pre-Killswitch stuff. They did put out an EP not too long ago. They kind of got together as buds and put out some music, which was pretty freaking awesome. So Overcast is going to be there. Fuming Mouth, one of the new up-and-comers, not necessarily metalcore, but still pretty damn awesome. All Out War and Apes. I don't really know who Apes is, so that doesn't really do much for me, but All Out War is pretty damn good. Plus a currently unannounced special guest. That makes me want to think that it might be Adam D from Killswitch Engage, maybe. It might be somebody else from Killswitch, or it might be Killswitch themselves, because of the Overcast announcement, and because Killswitch and Unearth are kind of buds. Adam D produced the first, I think, 4 records by Unearth, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it would not surprise me if he was the special guest and he came out and did a couple of songs with them, because he was also the drummer on one of those records. I think he was the drummer on 3. But again, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. It's not in the notes. But yeah, I would be very surprised if he wasn't at the show, if not the actual special guest. When the special guest gets announced, I'm sure we'll do follow-ups on it, but that's all we've got for that. So let's continue on to our biggest piece for the music section. And that is the announcement. Just happened last night as I'm filming this, so probably 2 nights ago or so as you're watching this. But the Stray Cats have announced that they're going to be doing a reunion tour. It is not a very big tour, and one of the dates still remains to be announced, but we do have the proper lineup for the Stray Cats, being Brian Setzer, Slim Jim, and Lee Rocker. All are going to be part of this tour, which is freaking epic. We have July 27th is where it starts in Woodinville, Washington. It runs through August 17th in Bridgeport, Connecticut. There are approximately 15 dates on this tour. Like I said, one of them has not been officially announced just yet, nor have there been tickets to go on sale just yet. Literally was just announced last night. Support on this tour, the only band we have that we know of for sure is Midnight Cowgirls. Anything beyond that has yet to be announced, if anything beyond that will be announced. Though when all of that happens, we'll be doing follow-ups. You can guarantee it. The link down in the description will take you to the official announcement from the band, which hopefully when tickets become available will also include a link to tickets. But yeah, Stray Cats on tour. Freaking huge. That's what we got for tours and festivals. Let's talk about some regular ass news, because we do have one piece of regular ass news. It's actually kind of a trailer more than anything. It has to do with Static X. It's a new documentary about the band. It's called Evil Disco: The Rise, Fall, and Regeneration of Static X. The trailer is pretty dang cool. Honestly, it's just going into, because you've seen all of this information before. This is not new information necessarily, but it goes a little bit deeper than I feel like most people have gotten into in this. So that's why it kind of has me pretty excited. The link will take you to the trailer, and then that'll give you all release date information and stuff. Because I didn't put it in the notes, because I take amazing notes. But as we say in the business, that's how it goes. I don't know what that means. That's all we got for music though, nerds. Let's continue on, shall we? So, in gaming and tech this week, we have Capcom is making waves with their newest RPG, and it's the biggest RPG they've ever launched, but there's been some issues and community complaints. We're going to go over that. We also have, apparently, Sam Altman is still courting Hollywood in spite of the writer strikes that we're trying to get that to stop. We'll get into that. We also have a game whose DLC seems to be a giant apology for the way the game originally launched. We'll talk about that. This is our biggest section for the week, so let's jump into gaming and tech. As I said before, it is still going to be abbreviated this week, so gaming and tech, while it is pretty sizable, we're still cutting out some stuff. There's no follow-ups or corrections. There are also no suggestions, but we do have just about everything else. We have some trailers to talk about. First up is Marvel 1943, The Rise of Hydra. This is the Cap and Black Panther game that has been, we talked about it when it was just rumored, and then we got those teaser images, and we were like, what the hell is going on? Well, this is what the hell is going on. It looks amazing. Like, just the sneaking, the tactical espionage, because I've got Metal Gear on the brain. The tactical side of this looks like it's going to be very well executed. And honestly, like, I just saw while I was doing the research last night on Twitter, somebody put up a comparison, a screen cap of She-Hulk, the She-Hulk series, and then a screen cap of this game, and this game looks better than the She-Hulk series does, so that kind of tells you a little bit of something. This just looks incredible. We do have voice cast announcements that we didn't have previously, so we're going to go over that real quick. We have Drew Moorline, rather. Sorry, I totally butchered that name. He's going to be the voice of Cap. Kari Payton, yes please and thank you, I love Kari Payton, is going to be the voice of Azuri, who is the Black Panther in this, which is T'Challa's grandfather. We have Megan, I'm not going to be able to say her last name, and I apologize, Megalyn, rather. Echikunawok will be Nanali, and Mark Richardson will be playing Gabriel Jones. So those are the two ancillary characters to Cap and Black Panther. So the trailer looks hype as hell, like just super damn awesome. Go check it out. All of the release date and information will be coming soon. We don't have an official launch date just yet. We do know that it is going to be sometime in 25. So from there we have one of the headline pieces, and that is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That's right, we're still talking about this game, even though it had such an abysmal launch in so many ways. Well, season 1 for the DLC content is going to be absolutely free. Go figure. It's almost like they're trying to apologize for doing such a horrible job with the initial launch. But so the DLC is live as we speak. Actually, no, I take that back. Is live tomorrow or Friday, whatever, whichever. But is going to be live probably by the time you see this episode, because so many people who subscribe to the channel don't actually watch it until a day or two after it's been posted, even though I put so much hard work. Anyway, so the theme for season 1, as far as DLC goes, is going to be the Joker. Now, it is an interesting little spin on the Joker, slightly interesting, I guess is appropriate, in that it's not the Joker from this world. So obviously we're dealing with DC, and they've been doing multiverse stuff since like the 70s, so we're no stranger to pulling characters from other universes, and that's what they've done here. They've kind of set up their own universe, which is kind of the Arkham universe, but I don't know if we could even necessarily give it that much credit. But so this is going to be a Joker from a different Elseworlds kind of situation, and also all of the stuff that happens in season 1 DLC is going to take place, is going to be flavored, I guess, like the Joker, this Joker's Elseworld. So where is it? Episode 1, because there's 2 episodes for season 1. Episode 1 is going to be themed around fear. It's going to be what is available on the 28th. A bunch of new gear, new games, yada yada yada. And then episode 2 is going to be themed duality. It will be released as mid-season update. Again, new weapons, new all kinds of stuff. Plus it will introduce themes based around supervillains Reverse Flash and Black Manta, plus Two-Face, obviously, because duality. So if you are playing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and you were very disappointed by the way it launched, like basically everyone was, then hopefully this does enough to appease you, at least enough to get you to play a little bit more. Honestly, if this one doesn't do well, I can't imagine that they're going to continue with more DLC. So we'll see what happens there. And then we have one last trailer, and this has to do with Final Fantasy 16, also having to do with DLC. Rising Tide DLC is going to be available April 18th. And this trailer kind of makes me wish I was a bit more of a Final Fantasy fan, because this kind of looks pretty damn hype. I don't have a PlayStation, so I don't play the Final Fantasies, so I'm just gonna have to watch everybody else do it on Let's Plays, but trailer looks pretty damn awesome. Go check it out. So that's what we got in trailers. Let's talk now about some regular ass news. We are going to start things off. This is where the meat and potatoes is for this section. We're gonna start things off with China. Apparently China has banned the US. And it's not exactly what you're thinking, though kind of. So what with us kind of focusing on TikTok and very likely banning TikTok in the long run, it seems that China is kind of taking a much more serious but opposite approach, in that they're going to be banning chip manufacturers from China, chip manufacturers that originate in the US from China. So the chips specifically are going to be from Intel and AMD. They're severely limiting imports of CPUs. There is a list of 18 CPUs that are going to be approved by the Chinese government, which sounds so ridiculous to me. The only one of which is going to be using x86 architecture, which is what kind of makes most Windows-based machines function, and that one with the x86 architecture is the one that's built by a Chinese manufacturer and is honestly just probably very likely, I guess, because we don't know this for certain, because any information we get from the Chinese government should be assumed to be a lie, is the one that functions the best, that runs the homegrown Chinese operating system. I don't have the name of the operating system in my notes because who really cares? But yeah, very interesting. So there's a minor ban on Windows, it would seem, as well. So yeah, as that kind of develops, we'll be keeping some tabs on it. It's a little more in depth than we normally cover here on Generally Nerdy, but we will get to it in some updates and stuff as it evolves. Next, we have the European Union is apparently launching some non-compliance investigations with the Digital Markets Act against Apple, Meta, and Google, notably not Microsoft for some reason, even though there's plenty of evidence to suggest that Microsoft is just as guilty as the rest. For some reason, they're just not looking into them. So the Digital Markets Act aims to ensure fair competition in digital markets. Yeah, they're all trying to be the only fish in the pond, effectively. So of course they're going to violate these set of rules that the only possible penalty is a very small fine in the grand scheme of things. That is all we have really right now, because the investigations were just announced. As they evolve, as they will, we will definitely be keeping some tabs on this in the follow-up section. Next up, we have Sam Altman courting Hollywood. OpenAI is trying to get used in Hollywood studios, which seems a little suspect, because that's one of the major parts of why we just had the writer and actors strike, is because they're trying to fight back against AI. Well, it would seem that Sam Altman did not get the memo, because he is taking OpenAI and demonstrating it for some Hollywood studios, because he is giving access to Sora, which, if you'll remember, Sora is that video AI that OpenAI is working on. Sora, ridiculously powerful, to the point where it had a lot of normie types very convinced that these were real images. He's giving early access to Sora to some movie studio types, not the least of which being Tyler Perry, who seems to be very much on board with the use of AI in his productions. Has said things to the effect of, like, he no longer will need to go on location in order to film certain things, because he'll have access to AI that can just fake the location for the actors, or potentially even fake the actors. But I mean, he didn't go that far. I'm definitely paraphrasing, but that's kind of the logical extension of the way he's thinking right now. So it's just very interesting that is the direction that's going. I really don't know what is going to happen with this as this goes, if this goes anywhere, because like we said, Tyler Perry has his hands on it right now, it would seem. That hasn't been explicitly made known, but the way he's talking about it and the way Sam Altman is presenting it to Hollywood, it kind of makes sense. There's definitely going to be more developments here. So yeah, that we're gonna keep going that one. And then our final piece of regular ass news this week is Dragon's Dogma 2. Capcom is under fire from the community, but it would seem that that's not exactly fair. So we're gonna get into this. So the microtransactions, I can say words. The microtransactions situation is fairly, it looks on a surface level like it's a bad situation, because there are microtransactions to literally fast travel. There's microtransactions for just about everything, but from what I've been able to gather, approximately like 95% of the things that you can purchase through microtransactions are also things that you can just earn, and some of them fairly easy in game. So they're just capitalizing on lazy people. That's all this is lazy gamers, people who don't have the time to grind. And it's again, it doesn't even seem, I haven't played Dragon's Dogma, so don't hold me to this necessarily too much, but it would seem that a lot of this isn't even really a grind so much as just playing the game, just doing the things and going through normal events in the game. You don't have to actively, because grind would imply like you're going out and seeking these little side quests that don't do anything for the main story, but they get you gear, they get you money, and they get you all these things, right? So that you can further progress in the main story. Well, it would seem that a lot of the stuff in these microtransactions are things that just happen. So, I don't know, Mortal Kombat's been doing this for some time. You've been able to purchase easy fatality coins, I guess you could call them, in Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat might be X, but I think it was 9 where you could do easy fatalities. It's basically 2 buttons and you can pull off a fatality from anywhere. So this isn't exactly a new concept to me, though apparently RPG players this is a fairly new concept for, because this is the first that this is the first that I've heard such a large complaint from an RPG community. So yeah, very interesting there. The other side of the criticism that Capcom has been getting about Dragon's Dogma is the performance issues. There is some anti-cheat software that is, and this is very cursory information. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this, then go check out the Gamers Nexus video on it, because they go into great depth. But this is not that kind of video. We're just talking about the headlines, right? So basically the way it boils down to is on PC, there is some frame rate issues. You're not getting the kind of frame rates that would be expected from a AAA title. So the rudimentary explanation for that is they have some anti-cheat software that is put in place in a lot of PC games that has a fairly major effect on performance, for reasons that are far too in-depth for us to get into here. But that's kind of the gist of the issue. And usually that developers who implement this software, once they no longer implement this software because piracy takes over and people who are pirating the games have better experience than people who are paying for the game, any plethora of other reasons why they would get rid of this and go for a different anti-cheat system, usually those things happen, and when that happens, performance gets better. Weird. They are currently saying that they do not believe it is their anti-cheat system, but the community kind of knows better. So as this one kind of evolves, very likely what's going to happen is we're going to see that the internal structure of how the PC side works is just going to get better, only can get better. As far as the console side, that one very much remains to be seen. It's not quite as dramatically bad as the PC side, though that's very much debatable. You're looking at a drop from 50 FPS, 50 to 60 FPS down to half of that, to 25 to 30 FPS, which, I mean, in certain respects is cinematic, but in the world of gaming, more frames equals better. So yeah, it just seems like they've got a little bit of work on their hands, but it is a modern AAA game, so that's kind of to be expected anymore, right? That, though, nerds, is what we've got for gaming and tech. Let's move on. Now we've got some comic books and books action. Actually, it's just comic books this week. It's just regular ass news. It's just, honestly, two fan favorite books are getting new iterations. So that's what we've got. Let's get into it. Yeah, so trailers, no follow-ups or corrections, none of that. We only have news this week in Comic Books and Books, and it's two different comic books. First one being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha. This is a reboot of the franchise. We've been talking about this for some time. Jason Aaron is the writer here. We have art from Chris Burnham. They are bringing in a new iteration of the Turtles for IDW. A lot of the art is very much reminiscent of the Eastman days, so that's pretty dang awesome. It will be in June. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha #1 will be launching. This is the new post number 150 from the main line. It is going to be 10 pages by Jason Aaron and Burnham, focusing on Donatello. The art so far looks freaking fantastic. I'm super excited about this. Burnham is also going to be part of the character-centric storytelling arcs as well. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #4 in October is going to be the one that he does the art for. Again, going to be Donatello-centric. So yeah, that's pretty great. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and anything that's reminiscent of the Eastman Laird stuff, I'm usually all for. So our other piece of news this week is Batman related, and it is the new book called Joker the World. This follows Batman the World. Joker the World is a 184-page hardcover anthology. It's not going to be collecting things that already exist. It's going to be collecting a new set of things called Joker the World. Will be released September 17th. Going to all be different stories of the Joker's antics elsewhere, right? So it's going to, how has the Joker inspired copycats? So we're going to probably be seeing some copycat stories. His influence directly onto recruiting people from other countries to do things for him in those other countries. So far, nothing crazy, no crazy details, I should say, have been announced as to exactly what stories and what writers, but as these things get announced, we will be talking about it. Like I said, it is coming September 17th, so that information should be starting to trickle out rather soon. But that is all we have for Comic Books and Books this week. I would really love to thank our partner, channel partner here at Generally Nerdy, and that is DUBBY. DUBBY has been so kind as to join up in a partnership with us and give us a way to earn a little bit of money here on the channel, and with a proper tasty product and something that I actually enjoy consuming myself. So even if I wasn't sponsored by them to a certain degree, like, I would still be actively consuming this. This is the Push and Punch variation. Our next one that we're going to try here on the channel is the Cali O Cream. It's the orange creamsicle one. DUBBY is a bit cheaper than the competition, so there's that. The only way to beat their prices is if you shop at the dollar store to get very, very lucky. DUBBY has more than just caffeine blend in their mix. There are some nootropics in here that help your brain focus. Definitely when I'm at work and I need to buckle down, the caffeine helps, sure, but the nootropics help me focus and get the food at my restaurant out fast without any mistakes. And legitimately, I really dig the DUBBY stuff. So that is our sponsor spot for the day. Thank you very much, DUBBY, and now let's get back to the show. So now in TV news, we have the world of Matt Reeves' The Batman is getting a little bit bigger. We also have a new horror series from Japan that is going to be coming to Netflix that looks insane. And Gundam is getting that Netflix series that we kind of have known for some time, but I honestly forgot until the trailer launched. So let's get into it. This week for TV, it's really just gonna be some trailers, because that's really all that it was. Even if we weren't doing an abbreviated show, it would still be mostly just trailers, because I don't know. I really don't know what the hell's going on as far as like new pop culture TV stuff. We got the end of The Ones Who Live, which we will be talking about probably when I get back from taking care of my parents, because I have yet to watch the final 2 episodes, but I will. And then the end of 3 Body Problem, which we will be talking about this week in That Just Happened. Aside from that, what else is going on as far as episodic content is concerned for pop culture, nerdy related things? Like, not really much. So it's all trailers, and so that's what we're doing. Our first piece is Parasite the Grey. This is a new Japanese horror series coming to Netflix on April 5th. This trailer is bonkers. I do have one gripe about the trailer though, and it seems to give away the twist because it's telling the story, it would seem, unto itself for, like, it's kind of very much abbreviating what we're going to get in the series, it would seem. And then at the last, 20 seconds of the trailer, we get a reveal that seems to be very much a spoilery reveal. Like, everything you thought you knew about this character from the last 45 seconds of trailer is exactly wrong. So, I don't know. It just... hopefully that all of that happens in the first episode and not just throughout the first season, in which case I will be very happy, but otherwise it's kind of disappointing, but it looks bonkers nonetheless, so go check it out. Our next one is the new House of the Dragon trailers. That's right, we got two trailers. We got the Team Black and Team Green trailers, depending on which side you take with who is the rightful ruler of Westeros at the moment. June 16th is going to be the launch of this series on HBO, or on Max, sorry. It is, like I said, two different trailers. I watched the black one first, and because obviously that's who deserves. Anyway, it just did. I don't know. I'm really hopeful that this one gets a little bit more cathartic. Like, the first season was good. I feel like it could have been a little bit better, but still pretty damn good. So hopefully season 2 gets, kind of steps it up a little bit and we get a little bit more catharsis from it. But either way, the trailers look great. Go check them out. And then we have the trailer for the Penguin series. Like I said, Matt Reeves' Batman universe just got a little bit bigger. We knew it was coming, so it's finally here. We have Colin Farrell as the Penguin again, and it looks really damn good. I know I say that a lot about this stuff because I get very excited. I'm very excitable, it would seem. But the Batman is, for all of its faults, is still one of the better Batman movies we've got ever. Like, really, honestly. So I'm pretty excited to see the world building that is going to happen around that movie franchise. And Colin Farrell as the Penguin, even though he has a Brooklyn accent for some reason, and he's in Gotham, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. You would think Chicago, either way. It's still, like, you still can't see Colin Farrell inside of that makeup. Like, that is the character. That is not Colin Farrell playing a character. That is the character of the Penguin. So very intrigued to see where they actually go with the series once it launches. That is going to be this fall that it launches. I don't know that the April 19th. Nope, that's the next one. No specific date just yet as far as my notes say, which I think is accurate as to when it launches, but it will be this fall. All right, so speaking of April 19th, we have Spiderwick Chronicles is the next one. This trailer doesn't change much for me as far as being intrigued by this series. It still looks pretty good. I'm not saying that. I've never read the original books, so I don't have the comparison to make. I've only watched the original movie, and so I have that comparison to make. And obviously they've made some changes, but if the story works, if it's good storytelling, I've said this many times before, I don't care exactly what gets changed to a certain degree, so long as they can tell the story inside the world that already exists in a satisfactory way. So this trailer doesn't change anything from this is a proper full-length trailer, whereas the last one we got was a little bit of a teaser. I'm just as excited about it as I was before, which is to say kind of mildly excited about it. The launch, like I said, April 19th. Once that rolls around, maybe we'll get a little bit more excited about the whole franchise, but right now it's kind of mid-level. We'll see what happens. And then our final trailer for TV this week is Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. Sometime this year, it's going to be hitting on to Netflix, and that's all we got. The trailer is a Gundam trailer. It is exactly what you want out of a CG Gundam trailer. I don't know what else I can say about that. Go check it out. Links for all of these, as usual, is down in the description. That's what we got for TV streaming this week, nerds. Hopefully next week's better, or I guess approximately 2 weeks from now. Whatever, let's move on. All right, now let's talk about some movies, shall we? We have one of the biggest children's fantasy franchises is getting a reboot, and it might be a good thing this time. We also have one of the kind of a millennial classic comedy movie is getting a sequel, which seems odd, but we'll talk about that. Plus, speaking of sequels, Beetlejuice. Of all the sections this week, this one is the most complete, though still abbreviated, so let's get into it. First up, we do have some follow-ups on some things we've been talking about. First is Death Clock, the Army of the Doomstar for the Metalocalypse series, the final movie. We now have release dates, thank the Lord. Our first release date is the air date that is going to be on Adult Swim, and that is April 5th. And then the max release for the movie is going to be the following day, April 6th. So that will potentially be the final word in the Metalocalypse story, though Brendan Small does say he has another idea kicking around that might come to fruition someday, maybe. Until that day, this is the end of it, so there's that. From there, we have Pirates of the Caribbean. This one we kind of saw coming. It has been rumored for a little while, and now it has been confirmed. New movie is now said to be a full-on reboot. So if they bring back Johnny Depp, who knows at this point, but it doesn't matter from a storytelling perspective, not from a money-making perspective, because without Johnny Depp, these movies always do horribly. So from a storytelling perspective, it's going to be a brand new franchise, or a brand new movie series. Not related to the previous Pirates movies anymore, and also presumably not the exclusively female cast movie that we had been hearing about for some time, though I'm pretty sure Margot Robbie is still attached to the project as at least a producer, if not potentially she's going to be in it to some degree. Who knows? We'll keep tabs. From there, we have a couple other ones. Section 31, which honestly, last time we talked about this, it was rumored to have gone from a TV show to a movie, and now we know it's a movie. This one kind of dropped off the radar for a second, so I guess we probably should have made that announcement previously, that it made from TV to movie, but now they've finished filming the movie, so they're moving into post, so we've got probably 6 months or so of post, I would imagine, and then we have a new Star Trek movie. So yeah, there you go. Star Trek Section 31, wrapped filming, is going to be very likely out sometime this year. Maybe the end of the year, who knows? But don't get too hype about it because it is going straight to streaming. It's going to be on Paramount Plus. It's kind of where it lives. And then our final piece of follow-up news has to do with the Fear Street movie franchise. We have a 4th iteration into the Fear Street storyline. Well, into the Fear Street oeuvre, I guess is more appropriate. And that is Prom Queen, is what it's going to be named. It is based on, obviously, one of the R.L. Stine books. No release date for this movie just yet. We do just know that it's going to be Prom Queen. And we also know that it's not going to be related to the first 3 movies, which potentially means that they're going to be doing another trilogy, and Prom Queen is just the first of the next trilogy, which I think would be a very interesting way to approach this franchise, though that does still remain to be seen. So that's what we've got for follow-ups and corrections. Let's talk about trailers. We got a couple of those as well. Alien Romulus, wow, August 16th. This year is going to see the release of the next Alien movie, and it looks like, but might not be, looks like a return to the horror, the true terrifying horror of the origins of this franchise. Romulus looks pretty damn scary. Go check out this trailer if you doubt me. Like, this one might be cranked to 11 a little bit. Then we have the big one this week is Beetlejuice. I'm super excited about this one. Even though this trailer is like 30 seconds long, there's so much in there. We got Catherine O'Hara, we got Winona Ryder, we got Jenna Ortega, we got the man himself, Michael Keaton, back in the makeup. The juice is loose, baby. My God, so much about this. Like, what are the implications here? Like, yes, I'm very, very excited about this. Like I said, it is going to be September 6th of this year. So hopefully tickets go on go on sale soon. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. Anyway, continuing on, we have Bad Boys Ride or Die. This is the 4th. Bad Boys 4. June 7th trailer here looks kind of more of the same Martin and Will Smith hijinks in a Bad Boys movie. There is a little bit of a weird portion of this trailer where they're in their car and it's like there's very obviously a green screen behind them. It's just very poorly edited, and I hope that they fix that by the time the movie comes out. But either way, these are fun movies. This trailer is a lot of fun. Go check out the trailer. And then our final trailer this week is Wicked. Okay, I having not yet read the book, I do own the book, but I have not read it, and also having not yet seen the stage production, I don't really have a point of comparison, aside from everything we already know about these characters from the creator. That one's not C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis was the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I can't remember the writer of the Dorothy books, but, well, I don't know how I feel about this one. Like, it's going to be a musical, so it's going to be enjoyable for that reason, for me at least, because just I can't help myself. I really like musicals. Almost went to school for musical theater, not going to lie. So, yes, the musical element is going to be one that I can totally get behind, but I think that might be everything that I can say good about this trailer. Hopefully not about the movie, but we'll just set that one aside for now and then come back to it later, right? Okay, that's what we got for trailers. Let's talk about some regular ass news. We got two big pieces in news this week, and that first one is probably the biggest of the entire episode, or of the entire section at the very least, is Neverending Story. Neverending Story is getting a proper reboot franchise. It's not just going to be a single movie like we got previous. Well, no, we got 3 Neverending Story movies previously, but if I remember correctly, the second and third one were even more loosely based on the books than the first one was, because the first one didn't even fully adapt the first book. It was like the first half of the first book or something to that effect. Never read the book, so I can't say that for certain, but I do know that there is a very colorful history of the making of that movie, from the blessing of the original author to him rescinding his blessing to a number of things. Secret Galaxy did a fantastic video about the history of it, so go check that out, because those guys, I think that was when they were still called Toy Galaxy, but either way, they're Secret Galaxy now. Yeah, Neverending Story. This is going to be a proper, all right, so one of the big things about here, this is a Seesaw Entertainment, I believe is the name of the production company. They were production company for the first movie as well, so we at least have some sort of continuity from one franchise to the next. It's going to be Ian Canning and Emily Sherman from Seesaw. We then have Michael Endy Productions, represented by Roman Hawk and Ralph Gossman, and in a recent interview with some of these producers, they have said that they want to make a great work of art for a wide audience, which has a lot of hope behind it, because they're not using the wrong buzzwords here, right? They're not saying they're going to adapt it for a modern audience. They're saying they want to make it have as much broad appeal as possible, kind of like the first one did, which is freaking amazing. They also, if I remember correctly, I didn't put this in the notes, but if I remember correctly, they're also going into the actual book. I think it's even a franchise, or a series of books rather. Correct me please if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember it being approximately 3 to 5 books in the series. So they're going into the books, and it sounds like they want to respect the source material, which should have you very hyped for this as well. The Neverending Story, from again my understanding of it, which is fairly rusty at this point, is probably one of a culturally significant for dark reasons, I guess, because the purpose of the story is Bastian is dealing with the separation of his parents, right? They're getting divorced. So the things that are happening to Bastian, or to the characters in Neverending Story, are there to help him deal with this rather dark thing in a child's life. And that's a little bit more prevalent in society now than when it was in 1988 when the first movie came out. So like, how much more appropriate could this be? And if they're also trying to make it for a wide audience, not for a specific audience, that's a good thing. And yeah, just there's a lot of green flags to coin a phrase. I very much will be keeping tabs on this one, but that's all we really have right now without me just continuing to gush. So let's get into the next one, which is a little weird. And Happy Gilmore is getting a sequel. There's going to be a Happy Gilmore 2. So this one has actually evolved since I took these notes just a little bit, because a lot more, I think there's been a proper official announcement, though again, I kind of moved on. This is a couple days old as far as notes go, but I'm fairly certain there's been something resembling at least a minor announcement that this is happening, because all of the trades are starting to pick it up as well. But we have Christopher McDonald, who played Shooter McGavin in the first movie, was doing an interview recently, and he said that he has seen the script, that Adam Sandler is making this into a movie. Presumably, we don't know a whole lot about it right now, but presumably it is going to be on Netflix, because he does have that contract right now with Netflix, or his production company does anyway. Which also, speaking of his production company, is kind of a good thing as well, because if he's using the name Happy Gilmore, if he's going to be calling it Happy Gilmore 2 or whatever, still using though the name Happy Gilmore, that means he got the rights back. So for those that don't know, Adam Sandler did not have the rights, as far as I understand, still does not have the rights to Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, his first two big movies, because they were made before he owned a production company. And actually, I believe it was their existence that caused him to create the production company. The name of the production company is Happy Madison. So Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, put them together, what do you got? So if this is to be believed, because technically it's kind of a rumor as far as this is concerned, as far as the little bit of information we had as of about 3 or 4 days ago. I can't remember exactly when I took these notes, but like I said, it has evolved. So I think we're a little bit closer to it being actual hard fact. So that's why it didn't go into the rumor mill. But yeah, we are very likely going to be seeing a continuation to Happy Gilmore, which honestly might not be a great thing. I love Happy Gilmore. I think Happy Gilmore is fantastic. I think Adam Sandler in his early career is some of the best dick and fart joke kind of comedy out there. I think Adam Sandler in his current stage in life is more of a dramatic actor, and he's an amazing dramatic actor. He does fantastic things on that side of the spectrum, but his comedies of late have left a lot to be desired. So I don't know how I feel about this movie. So I don't know. I'm gonna pass this one off to you guys. What do you think about Happy Gilmore 2 coming to fruition? Yeah, seems like it's all but said and done at this point. Which brings us to the rumor mill. This week in rumors, we have one of the largest quadruple A, the only actual legitimate quadruple A title to ever launch in the history of gaming, just had a fairly significant setback, if you want to believe the rumors. Plus, we have a new Netflix series is adapting a childhood favorite that's just not going to go well, and some updates on Spider-Man 4 as far as rumors go. So let's get into all of that and more. Abbreviated. That's short. We're not doing speculations again this week, but we do have some new rumors. No confirmations, refutations, no new sources for old rumors. These are all new rumors, and we're just gonna go through them. First up, Netflix owns the rights to the Power Rangers to some degree, it would seem. We've talked about this previously, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. This seems like there's more behind the scenes than they're letting on. So what they're doing is they're going to, according to this rumor, they're going to be rebooting the Power Rangers franchise, only it's going to be, as you could have guessed, very woke, because Netflix still hasn't gotten the memo that it would seem that everyone else is starting to read. Because it's going to be all of the main characters, save for I think one, is going to be some form of LGBTQ or female or all of the above, which in and of itself is not bad, considering though that this does have source material. This does have a whole legion of fans that love it for reasons that aren't included in these DEI checkboxes. It just seems like it's tone deaf. You read the room, understand the people who like the franchise, and do things that fit inside the franchise, and you'll have success. Otherwise, I don't know. So the only possible saving grace to this, assuming this rumor is to be believed, is that it is going to be considered an Elseworld story. It's going to be considered to be from a different universe for the Power Rangers than all of the material preceding it, because everything preceding it ties in to each other. It's been a long time since I watched Power Rangers, so I can't necessarily say exactly how they tie into each other, but that is how it works. Like, each new franchise of the Power Rangers, each new iteration of the Power Rangers kind of builds on previous iterations of the Power Rangers. So this one's not going to do that. It's going to be something else entirely, according to the rumor. This comes from very good sources. This also plays into all of the expectations as far as what Netflix does with franchises, especially something like this. So this is the likelihood that we are going to be seeing a Woke Rangers. 70% likely. I honestly could have gone higher with that, because I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. From there, we have some gaming stuff, which is interesting because this one's a lot more rocky than most of our gaming rumors have been in the past. This gaming rumor has to do with the next generation Xbox. So according to certain reports, very notable leakers, very notable people who work inside the industry, apparently Microsoft has been actively working on a handheld prototype for some time, to the point where a few prototypes are actively out in the wild with developers right now. It's said that it's going to be part of their strategy for the next generation of consoles. Though what it doesn't say is if it's going to be the focus of the next generation of consoles, or if potentially Microsoft is going to be doing what Nintendo did in the 90s and focusing on two different sides of the console genre, console release, I guess. Those being the home console, which would be whatever is the actual successor to the series consoles, which is expected to be announced sometime either by the end of this year or going into summer of next year. Or so home consoles, and then handheld consoles being a separate console endeavor entirely. So you have two different dev teams developing a handheld and a home. The home console is effectively just a computer at this point, and so the handheld console would be the biggest challenge. It would be presumably the most fun, right? So I don't know, there have been some leaks recently. There was the picture of a new dev kit for Microsoft that was in, I can't remember who the developer was that had the new dev kit, but that has been leaked out. And then also it has been said, Phil Spencer has said that he wants to get other gaming, PC gaming platforms onto the Xbox home console, which definitely spells a whole bunch of different things for the future of Xbox home consoles. So I don't know, that's a whole different conversation, probably for another video. But I honestly think that this is not going to be the next generation Xbox. So likelihood that that is the way they're going, I'm going to say probably about 60%. It just doesn't seem likely, though. Again, we do have some very good information suggesting that there are such things in the wild. It just seems more likely that they're going to develop a home console that stays in a spot, and then a handheld console that somehow interacts with the home console that is a thing unto itself. So again, 60% likely that that is the only direction they go with the next generation. And then our big headline for the week is Grand Theft Auto 6. We have some concerning information about Grand Theft Auto 6. Again, this is very potentially going to be the biggest video game release in the history of video games. So I'm sure, Rockstar, not Rocksteady. So I'm sure the people at Rockstar are not taking this lightly, which could be a good thing. But the information says that there has been some sort of significant delay in the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. So significant significant, in fact, that they very well could miss the holiday 2025 release window, which was the previous rumor, and it could bump it into 2026. So we could be approximately 2 years away yet from the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. This one very freaking likely, because it is there's a lot riding on this release. So 80% likely that we're going to be seeing Grand Theft Auto 6 very close to, if not in 2026. All right, from there we have movie rumor about Jurassic World. This one has Scarlett Johansson being rumored to be in negotiations with the people making Jurassic World. Is it WB or maybe? I can't remember. But she's rumored to be the lead for a new set of movies that is going to be a unto itself set of movies. It's not going to have anything to do with the previous movies. So maybe not Jurassic World. They might go somewhere else with the naming scheme. But either way, Scarlett Johansson rumored to be the lead for this. I'm going to put this one at 50%. Not a great source. Also, just still super early when you're talking about negotiations. Like, all of that happens behind closed doors, so you can't really say one way or the other. So we're going to split the difference and say 50% that we'll see Scarlett Johansson in a dinosaur movie that has anything to do with the Jurassic Park franchise. Next up is a TV rumor that has me a little bit hyped. Malcolm in the Middle is apparently getting some sort of renewal, revival, catch-up episode. That part very much remains to be seen, but Frankie Muniz says that it's this close to happening. Frankie Muniz also says that it's been this close to happening for about 5 years at this point. So whether or not it actually happens very much remains to be seen. But I mean, if Frankie Muniz is actively out there discussing this at this point, I would say that puts it a little bit more on the likely side. So we're going to say 75% likely we'll be seeing some sort of renewal, some sort of, I don't know, rehash for Malcolm in the Middle. Next up is Spider-Man 4 rumors. Spider-Man 4, we have a couple of rumors here, and I'm going to say they all tie in together, so we're just going to do one likelihood percentage. But we have, first of them is John Watts, who directed the first 3 movies, is not going to be returning into the director's seat. Instead, he's going to be replaced likely by either Drew Goddard or Jeff Lynne, as far as directors go. They are set to begin filming September or October of this year. And Zendaya is back as MJ, because of course she is, why wouldn't she be? Which would explain all of the situation going on with Euphoria Season 3 and why it may or may not happen, and if it does happen, it's just been pushed way back on that back burner. So yeah, all of these things jibe with so many, like, we have a bunch of sources all confirming each other. We have a bunch of kind of surrounding situations that would fall in line with this as well. There is very little to me that says this is not the case right now. So we're going to say 90% likely that all of these things together are true. And then we have our final piece of rumor, which also is movies and superheroes, but just the other side of superheroes. DC, the Batman 2, we have the Batman is going to introduce D.A. Dent. So it's going to be pre-Two-Face, Harvey Dent. Presumably, like we've talked about previously, we're going to see him become Two-Face in this universe. And then it's going to have Clayface as the primary villain, but he's the primary villain and he's antagonizing Batman to the point where we get another kind of rehash of what we got in the first movie, where Batman has to seek the counsel of the Joker. That's the newest part of this rumor. All the rest of this could be considered new sources for old rumors, but that's the new bit, that we have a confirmation as far as this rumor goes that Joker's going to be in this movie. Like I said, we've talked about those other elements before. The fact that Clayface is going to be the primary antagonist, the fact that Harvey Dent is going to be in this to some degree. Yeah, we've already given the likelihoods of those. It's fairly high. The Joker bit seems the most likely, though, because that gives you just enough of that little the familiarity from the first movie. Like, this happened before, so this is an established thing that happens in these movies, which then, once we do finally get a Joker-centric movie in this universe, makes that relationship work so much better, which makes the Joker so much more of an effective villain. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I think 90% likely that we're going to to be seeing Batman seek the counsel of the Joker in the next movie. Yeah, super stoked to see what happens there, but that's what we've got for rumors this week, nerds. And that brings us into housekeeping. Obviously, there was a piece of housekeeping that if we still had the old format, you would have already known, and that is we are doing an abbreviated episode this week. No suggestions, though I have not yet clipped the suggestions from last week's episode, so I will still get some clips out of this, but no suggestions, kind of cutting out certain subsections throughout the entire episode just because time is a major factor. Getting ready to go to travel out of state to go take care of my parents is a significant factor for that, as well as kind of other things with the day job and so on and so forth. So yeah, that is the basic housekeeping of this. I do have a couple of concert dates set, so hopefully that will turn into some sort of content for the channel. I say that every time, and it's difficult, man. I'm a one-man show. So if I can turn that into something, then it will happen. Slaughter to Prevail, again. We also have Lord of the Lost is a big hopeful on the list. Going to the Stray Cats, though I doubt anything's gonna come out of that, and then a couple other shows as well that have been announced that we got tickets to, so gonna do my best. And then just a reminder, next week we will have very likely zero content, very, very little, if anything at all, because I will be out of town. I will be taking care of my parents, so that is going to put a damper on things. And then the following week we might not have an episode. If we do, it very likely will be a live episode, so the format will be fairly different, and it will be a big opportunity for you to come make your voices heard. If you want to contribute to the news, if you think that I have dramatically been missing something, or you have information that you would like to share with the community, live shows are the way to do it the most quickly, I guess, is the way to look at that. It's immediate. We can talk about it as soon as you type it. So stay tuned to the socials as things happen. I will do my best to make sure that they are announced on the socials. And yeah, that is the episode for the week, guys. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. If you are falling behind on your nerd news, you should be able to click or tap the box to the side of my face soon. I appreciate your faces, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.
We did it?
We did it.
Yes! Oh, Richard, I'm so happy. Hold me.